Hi everybody, I'm Daria. We are backstage right now at a Mindvalley event, and I cannot wait to introduce you to who I have today. So he is the founder of Mindvalley, which is the biggest personal growth company in the world right now. He is an entrepreneur, the New York Times best-selling author of The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, and he is an activist in raising human consciousness. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to Vishen Lakhiani.
Hi Daria, and thank you for having me on your channel.
Yeah, great. Okay, so let's just dive right into this. One of the things that I really admire about you is that you went into the conventional route of being successful, and then you realized that while you were in that, there's some flaws to it. So I guess my question to you is, how did you come up with Brules? And you also had a hamburger at Bill Gates' house. So I want to ask you more about that.
Okay, so firstly, you said I went through the conventional route of being successful. I wouldn't say I was successful. I think what you're talking about is that I checked all the boxes that society said I needed to check, right? Mm-hmm. Top student in school, check. Getting into a good university, check. Graduating with a degree, check. Getting a job at a Fortune 500 company, in my case, Microsoft in 1998, check. The hamburger at Bill Gates' house was when I was working at Microsoft. Back then in 1998, Bill would invite all the new employees to his house and he would cook hamburgers. He was a really, really, really cool guy. Yeah. But as I checked all of those boxes, and I went through around 10 years of my life focused on grades and trying to graduate with my computer engineering degree and getting into Microsoft, in my book, I wrote about how in week 11 at Microsoft, I realized I was freaking miserable because I wasn't living the life that I wanted. I was living the life that society told me I had to live. The stable job, the engineering degree, and it wasn't what really made my heart sing. So I quit. Actually, I was 21 or 22 years old. I was too chicken to quit. So I pissed off my boss deliberately and got myself fired. I pissed off my boss by one day, actually 3 days in a row. Back then in Microsoft, everybody got their own personal office. Yeah. So I had my own personal office, and I just couldn't work. So I played computer games for 3 days in a row. My boss caught me, and I wanted him to catch me. I wanted to get fired because I didn't have the guts to go to my dad and say I quit my dream job at Microsoft. It was easy to say, my boss didn't like me and I got fired. And that's when I started what would be my real life, which was figuring out my mission in the world and why I was born. And it wasn't to work at Microsoft. As amazing as Bill Gates was, it was to do what I do right now, which is help spread personal growth across the planet.
Wow, that's amazing that you're able to be in that environment and then notice that it's not for you.
So the lesson is, many young people, now I went through this journey when I was 21, right? Yeah. So many young people, they suppress what their soul is here to do by forging ahead with what their parents, their society, their culture, their teachers, their preachers, their university professors say they should do. Now there is some wisdom in getting people's advice, but ultimately, if you find yourself miserable for too long, you gotta shift something.
I think also, if it's temporary, as you said, the means goal and the end goal, if you're in that to be, as a temporary thing to then take you to, your higher purpose, then I think being in that, in that environment is a good thing.
Yes. So you touched on something, means goals and end goals, right? So there's a really interesting exercise I designed, and you can do it at any age, but it's really useful for young people. And it's called the 3 most important questions. You can Google it online, 3 most important questions. And the exercise simply helps you determine what is it that makes your heart sing. See, you said I was following the conventional rules of success and it didn't work out. Here's why it doesn't work out. All the studies show that if we follow what conventional society says we need to do, which is be obsessed with our career, our job, and our income, it doesn't really lead to happiness, right? Yeah. Your happiness levels start to plateau in America once you hit around 75K in income. And that's nice, but if you really want to live a life that makes your soul sing, where you wake up every day really excited about what you do, don't make it about the money. Don't make it about the title. Don't make it about the income. Figure out what you want to do every single day that brings you joy. Now, for me, that was teaching meditation. I just got obsessed with personal growth.
Yeah.
And so, even though there wasn't money there, I decided to do it anyway because the money wasn't important at first. It was, did this job, teaching meditation, recording meditation audios, make my soul sing. Now, when you find something that soul lights you up, you cannot help but get good at it. Because happiness is one of the biggest things that's going to fuel your productivity. Science today says that happiness is rocket fuel for productivity. Doctors who are happy are 19% better at diagnoses. Salespeople who are optimists are 55% better at closing sales. Students who are happy do better at their exams. So if you find what makes you happy, you cannot help but become so good at it that the money will come. But if you chase what doesn't make you happy for money, then you're kind of leading a dumb life. You're doing what you don't enjoy doing for money to continue living a life that you don't enjoy living. It makes no sense. So I believe the biggest mistake people make is putting the societal rules of money and safety and their father's or mother's definition of a good career before what really speaks to their soul.
Wow, beautifully said. So just to touch more onto that, you said that, you know, when you're able to look at it in a way when you're like, you want to serve to the universe, and then the universe then will reciprocate that to you and be like, how can I serve you? So when you no longer are thinking from a standpoint of how can I make money out of this, or money's not your only motive, and you're actually being able to transcend into that how can I serve type of feeling. I guess where I'm going with this is there a difference between manifesting a goal and the law of attraction?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So first let's talk about serving, right? So Rumi, the great poet, has a quote. Now first, to understand this quote, you got to decide how you view the world. Do you view the world as a mechanical universe, that we are simply blood and flesh and matter, and the world operates solely upon the laws of physics, Newtonian physics? Or are we multidimensional beings? Do we have a soul? If we have a soul, if there is a God, if we are part of a higher intelligence, why are we here? Does our soul have a plan for us? I believe we are souls having a human experience. So based on that belief, this quote by Rumi starts to make sense. Rumi said, "When I chase after what I think I want, my life is a furnace of distress and anxiety. But if I sit in my own place of patience, what I want comes to me without any pain." Wow. In this, I understand that what I want wants me too. There's a great secret for anyone who understands this. I'm paraphrasing a bit. I don't remember the exact quote, but that was 90% of it. What Rumi is saying is that when you chase after what you think you want, what society says you need to chase, your life is going to be a furnace of distress and anxiety. But when you sit in your place of patience, when you go within, what you really want, which is your soul's expression of why you're here, comes to you and without any pain. There's a great secret in this. And this is what I mean by find the job that makes your heart sing. Because that's often the best expression of what your soul really wants you to do. Now the question is there a difference between law of attraction and manifesting? Law of attraction is an idea that whatever is your dominant thought comes to you, right?
Yeah.
It is one of multiple different ingredients for the greater field of manifesting, which is the idea that we can shift the universe and bend reality to our desire. So the law of attraction is just one tiny piece. I'd say it's like 5%. The movie The Secret made it seem like it's everything, but it's not.
Yeah.
But the biggest part of it is understanding that the universe reflects to you what you want when you're operating in alignment to your soul. If you are not, then what will happen is you will face resistance. As the Rumi said, your life will be a furnace of distress and anxiety. So the Rumi was actually talking about manifesting. But what he was talking about is manifesting by being able to understand why you are really here. And that is not to listen to your parents. That is not to do what your culture or your religion or your imam or your priest or your university professor says you need to do. It's often to understand why you were born And for that, you got to discover your own purpose.
So it's listening to, like you said, what makes your heart sing.
Yes. Michael Beckwith, the spiritual philosopher, says that true manifesting, right, is not about intention.
Okay.
Rather, inspiration leads to intention. In other words, the inspiration, the voice in your head that guides you, tells you what you need to be moving towards. And you got to listen. The most important advice is the one that's already in here.
Wow. Beautiful answer. So I'm going to switch things up a little bit. I wanted to read you a quote that you put in one of your books, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind.
Okay.
So I'm going to read this quote for you. So it says, all of us have a child within us who never received all the love and appreciation we deserved. We can't go back and fix the past, but we can take responsibility to heal ourselves now by giving ourselves the love and appreciation we once craved. You can help heal your own inner child. So I feel like we're all a mystery to ourselves. We don't truly understand ourselves. And sometimes we can lash on to our past and put it onto other people. So whether this be, an ex-spouse or our parents or a friend that didn't, the relationship didn't really end the way that you wanted it to. And when something happens, we will lash out at them and will project our pain onto them deliberately, maybe like not knowing it, or maybe we do know it. So why is it that it's important to heal, and why is it important to forgive?
What you're saying, I think, is we are projecting our shit with other people from the past onto people in our lives.
Yeah.
Oh, that happens all the time.
So
Right.
we don't take time to sit back and ask ourselves, why am I acting this way? And for you, my question is why is it so important to heal? Why is it so important to understand yourself so we don't run into this cycle of hurting other people who genuinely don't deserve it?
We repeat the pattern.
Yeah.
So there's this person who works for me, and she came to me and she said, you know what? I'm so projecting my daddy issues on you, and which is why I'm sometimes intimidated by you, because I'm her boss. And so we joke about that, and she's right. She's conscious enough to understand that she had some issue with her father, and I think she's like 15 years younger than me, so she projects that on an older male in a position of authority, such as her boss, right? And all of us do that. All of us have issues from our past that come up again and again and again until we shine a light on them and we heal them. And so it's so important to understand what these issues are and heal these. And this is one of the things that in personal growth you would call shadow work. It's working on your shadow, working on the flaws, the dark side, the personality traits that you may have inherited as you were growing up, and learning to heal that. There are many practices to do that, from rapid transformational therapy to self-hypnosis to reprogramming to forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of my favorites. So that's a real thing, and I think you're right. It's important to heal those issues.
Yeah, so I'd like you to go a bit deeper on forgiveness. Why is it so important to forgive and let that go?
Okay, so firstly, you're a woman of science. I know you're a psychometrist and you're a researcher. So let's talk about science. So science shows that when you practice forgiveness, it actually changes your brain in powerful ways. Your brain takes on the dimensions of more reflective of Zen Roshi monks. In other words, alpha amplitude goes up, left-right brain coherence becomes more synchronized. Other studies show that endurance goes up, back pain subsides. One study shows that forgiveness improves your vertical jump. In other words, if you're a basketball player, you want to forgive everyone. You jump higher. But one of the most interesting things about forgiveness is that it actually improves your heart health, and it gives you greater sense of peace and meaning and well-being in the world. We don't really understand why, but it seems that when we carry any type of negative charge towards someone, even if it's long in the past, or any type of negative charge towards a younger version of ourselves based on the mistake we made, it actually suppresses our energy. It suppresses and it restricts our ability to fully be human, all the way down to our biology and our brain. So you want to practice forgiveness on a regular basis. If you are familiar with my meditation technique, the 6-phase meditation, phase 3 is all about forgiveness, because it's so important to practice forgiveness in life. Google the 6-phase meditation, and you will find that there are many guided versions of it out there, and you will learn how to do the forgiveness protocol. The forgiveness protocol that I teach comes from Dr. Jim Hart of the Biocybernaut Institute, who pioneered this whole science of forgiveness improving the brainwave states in a human being.